kitchen today for another basics video. Today I'm going to be teaching you guys the simple method of how to ball up the end of wire using a torch, but I'm also going to include some tips and tricks with it because I find that on searching online I haven't really been able to find very many of what I would like to teach you. Okay, let's get started. You cannot ball up the ends of your wire without a torch. Mine is just a simple kitchen torch. They call it the micro torch or the micro blazer. I bought mine on Amazon 4 or 5 years ago. At the time that I bought it, I think I paid about $50 for it. I've seen in a few other places it go as much as $65. So just search around and do some price checks before you buy it. I've also seen larger butane torches, and you can also get propane torches. Propane burns at a higher temperature, or the fire is higher temperature than butane, so you'll be able to burn more, such as copper. When I try and burn copper with my little itty bitty micro torch, I'm only able to burn 20 gauge, 18 gauge if I'm lucky, and that takes a lot of time and directing the wire into it. So usually I try and stay at 20 gauge or finer of a gauge with copper. And with silver, I can usually burn sterling silver up to, I think, 16 gauge. And I've never tried anything more than 16 gauge on fine silver or sterling silver. But 16 gauge on sterling silver would still take a little bit of time. But I can do it with this little guy. Now, the butane torch, you are going to need butane to fill it up with, and it comes like this. This is triple refined. If you don't buy triple refined, it will clog up, it will get gunky and clog up on the inside, and then you can ruin your torch. So make sure you always buy triple refined. I personally stick with the Blazer brand just because that's what this brand is, so I know it's going to work with it. And it's not expensive. I think I bought a 4-pack of these cans at the same time I bought this, and I want to say I paid $20 or $25 for a 4-pack. I don't really remember, and I can't find my receipt anywhere. It was so long ago. But I still have 3 whole cans. This is the first can I've ever used, and I still have like this much left in it. I can hear it slosh around. So it's actually lasting a really long time, so pennies per day. Other things you're going to need when you start playing with fire, you are going to need some tools to hold your wire with, because you do not want to hold it with your hand. Heat travels through wire, it is conductor, so you're going to use your pliers, and you'll need a cup or a container of cool water to quench it in. I've had this cup for many, many years. I stole it from my parents when I lived with them when I was 18 years old, and this is what I use it for. So it stays with my jewelry. I always have like stuff in it, but I have water in it now for us to be dipping our balled up wire ends. I can't talk today. And finally, I have our wire. I've chosen several different tempers to show you guys different techniques with. I've got sterling silver, fine silver, and then I have some 26 gauge. These are both 20 gauge. I'm going to be teaching you different balled up shapes you achieve with different techniques when you're playing with the fire. I am entirely self-taught in this aspect. It may not be what other people do, but this is what I do, and this is how I achieve some of the shapes that I like to use. One of the other things we're also going to be showing you today in the video is where in the flame to put your wire for what you're wanting to achieve. You'll see when the flame comes out that there is a blue flame, and then it turns into an orange or red. At the very tip of the blue flame is the hottest point. That's typically where you put your wire to create the fastest reaction for it to melt. But if you're going to be using a finer gauge wire, you're going to want to hold it farther back because I have had a little ball drop off because it was just too fast. It melted too fast, so it fell off. So I found for finer gauges, you're going to want to hold it farther back. And for thicker gauges, you can actually, instead of putting it directly in, you could angle the wire and put it like this. You can also buy holders for your blazer that will put it at an angle like this so that you can just work into it like that. That is a very good thing to use. I do not have one, but if you wanted to achieve the pointed ends, which I've seen on some balls that are very cool, that's how you do that. You dip it in straight into it, but you gotta remove it very quickly. I've been playing with that technique. I have not yet mastered it. It's very fast. It takes a good eye. Usually it's done, I think, with fine silver, but I believe I've seen it done with sterling silver. But I can only do mine with fine silver, and that's if I'm lucky enough to be fast enough. But today I will be teaching you how to do the round ball on the end, a teardrop ball on the end, and a paisley shape on the end. And let's get started. Hey guys, I am back. I've got my water and my torch. I turned the light off so that you guys would be able to see the fire better. I normally, when I'm torching, I keep my setup, not on the burner, I keep it on the tile. But I keep my water, because I'm mostly right-handed, I keep it to the right so that after I'm done torching, I can dip it and I'm not trying to cross over the fire. It's for safety. But for this tutorial, I'm going to take my water out of the frame so that you guys can focus on the flame and the metal that we're going to be melting. I'm going to be starting with my 26 gauge because it is a fine wire and it will go by really quickly. I'm just going to make a ball on the end, just a round ball, because I usually use them for head pins. So I will be putting it almost directly up and down into the flame. Now I'm going to start my fire so everyone can see. This is the start button. It clicks. You've got your oxygen hole. You can adjust this if you need to. I like mine to be on full oxygen. That makes the hottest flame. This turns on your gas. Now it's off. I'm going to turn it on and then I'm going to push the starter button. And there's my fire. Can you guys see it? I do it on my stove for the safety. And now I've got my metal. I'm going to come in right here. You see that? Come on. It's not having trouble focusing. There, just a little round ball on the end. I quenched it. And because this is sterling, it is going to make an oxidation on the end. And there are multiple ways you can remove the oxidation. Some people dip it in a pickle to remove it. Some people apply flux to the end before they ever put it in the fire. I myself dip these in salt and vinegar and then scrape the rest off with a scratch pad like steel wool. Really, it works very easy for me. I don't have any problems. But this is my little ball head pin. You can see how quickly it happened on the fire. To get your balls, you're going to go straight up and down. To get your pear-shaped or your paisley, you're going to come in more at an angle. There's that little guy. I will show you again on the other side. Start my fire. And come down right. Now this is your hottest point. I'm going to come down a little bit further back. Dip it in my water. And this is my other side. So now I have two. That's as easy as it is. And now let's talk about some more shapes, or I'll show you rather. This is fine silver. Fine silver balls up very easily, just like what you saw on the smaller gauge. These ones will do that very quickly. Fine silver is good because it is softer, and also it doesn't produce the oxidation on the ends with the fire. It's harder to get these to make shapes like pears or paisleys because they want to quickly cling. They have a higher surface tension, but you can with some practice. Okay, I'm gonna start my fire again and show you. Okay, this one I'm gonna use the curve. I'm gonna very carefully dip it in the flame. I'm not sure if you could see. Let me quench that real quick. But when it's in the flame, it wobbles a little bit because it's so melted that if you were to jerk this, you could change the shape of this. I try and be very careful. I put it at an angle so that I can make more of a teardrop shape. See if you guys can see that. So it's not an exact round on the end. That's better. It has a bit of a tear shape to it. It's much easier to do this with sterling, like I said, but I still like having a little bit of teardrop shape there. Now on this end, I'm going to try and do straight up and down to create the perfect round ball. And there you have it. It's so pretty. All right, now let's move on to sterling and we can practice our pear shapes and our paisley shapes. Here I have a short length of 20 gauge sterling silver. When I'm making ear wires is usually when I prefer my paisley shapes, or if I know I'm going to be making some decorative spirals. I'm sorry it keeps blurring up, guys. Now, to make your paisley shapes, you're going to want to come this way of an angle. Instead of coming straight up and down, come sideways, and instead of coming straight into the flame, we're going to be coming sideways. And you will actually see, I hope, on camera, you're going to see it slowly work its way up the wire. That's what I'm hoping you guys can see. So I'm going to try and go nice and slow, and hopefully you guys can see on camera. Putting it in the hottest part of the flame. You guys see it working its way? And if you want to prevent pitting, you can hold it further back. Well, there's a very dramatic paisley shape. Let me quench this real quick. That's a very long paisley shape. That would make a beautiful spiral if I wanted to curve that and polish that up. Let's make a smaller one on the other end. I want you guys to see it roll. Sorry, my hands aren't very steady. Did you see it roll? Let me quench it real quick so I can touch it. Okay, so that was this little one here. And now we're going to try with sterling silver wire, again, 20 gauge, making a pear shape. Instead of coming directly sideways, I'm going to come at more of an angle. Got my quenching water ready over here. Here's my fire. Okay. That one came out more paisley, so I'm going to come more straight up and down and just try and melt it a little bit more to give it a better shape. I'm going to quench it real quick and show you the shape we've got. And I'm turning it, you can't tell, but there we go. There's that way. So it's still more of a paisley shape, but it's not as sideways, I suppose. All right, let's try it with the other side. I'll try again. I was trying to pull away from the heat, but I was having trouble. Like I said, I'm not perfect at it. And there's that one. And once I get the oxidation off and give it a quick polish, I think that'll look pretty nice. These two are not the same size. A trick with trying to make them the same size is usually I will put them side by side in my pliers at the same level, so like about there. And I will separate them like this, and I will try to burn one and then burn the other to try and get them the same length. I suppose I could show that to you here in just a second. It's a little harder, it takes some patience, and here we go. This is fine silver real quick, so it's going to ball up pretty quick. And then I'm going to do the other one. I'm going to quench them. And there you can see that they are very close to the same size. And there you are, everybody. And that was it. I hope you guys liked this video. I hope you learned a lot from it. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and share my videos. If you have any questions, leave them below in the comments and I will answer them for you. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.